And then we go over to the house. Hello? Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Sure can.
Good. I hope this works out now.
Yeah, let's give it a shot. Yeah, I did the same thing as you. Restarted the computer, reconnected all the cables, so hopefully it goes well. I mean, last night I did a couple of live streams about the pains and another have and have not thing, and nothing went wrong, so hopefully tonight goes better as well.
Yeah, I watched the live streams and everything seemed to be going well.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about these systems whenever there's a caller. I remember when I first got started, it was working really well. Then out of nowhere, it just started going south. But I don't know. Let's just hope for the best now. But let's see here. Tyler Perry, if loving you is wrong, shout out. There you go. Hey, Jamal, how's it going? Oh, Jamel. Let's see. What if Melissa and
We're
man?
online. We seem to be doing pretty well. So
Yep.
far.
Yeah, I got about 40 people on this end watching. So it's almost midnight, but
I'm just gonna tell you this like this again. It's like paradise just to be able to do this again.
darn right. I got that right.
Because I was kind of disappointed. I don't when we weren't doing live streams because I was watching the episodes and I had so many thoughts that I wanted to share and it was like I couldn't.
Yeah, I can understand that. And looks like we're almost at 100 people watching, so that's very good. All right, so everybody just tuning in, we're pretty much going to try to pick up where we left off on last night's live stream about what will be happening between Benny and Mitch on the haves and the have-nots this particular season. So far, we know Benny plans on borrowing about $45,000 from the Malone family. Mitch is kind of hesitant because he knows for a fact if Benny isn't able to pay that money back, that's pretty much going to be his life, not his family's life, but his life is going to be put in danger. So with that being said, the question is, will Mitch become more of a Malone this season? Will he possibly rekindle his old relationship with Candace? Not to mention the fact that Candace is owed one favor by Mama Rose, and how that's going to play an effect on everything that's going to happen this season.
I'm to be honest, when I first came on theorizing, I kind of figured that it would be the other way around. That it would be Nick would be the one who's all one the business, and Benny being the hesitant one, like saying, "I don't know about this."
Yeah, I definitely agree. I agree.
And this is, tomorrow we're going to see, and this is something that I know it's a little off topic, but this is something I wanted to get your thoughts on. It's Veronica. We know Veronica's in the hospital, right?
Yep.
Well, tomorrow's summary, no, excuse me, Tuesday's summary says Hannah and Benny they go to confront Candace. It's a possible way for I don't know if Mitch could possibly be there. Do you think that that is a possible way for Benny to tell Candace? I just could just lost my life. I realize, say Veronica Harrington, she's in the hospital now, and could that be a possible way for Candace to find out the whereabouts of Veronica?
Um, is it?
Just thinking out loud here.
Yeah, it is possible, but given the pacing of the show, I don't think that's going to happen on Tuesday night, because I feel like Benny and Hannah are going to be more focused on confronting Candace on how she's dealing, or shall I say, not really dealing with the grief of losing her son. I feel like Benny, Hannah, and Candace are going to get together to really talk about that letter that Hannah found in his pocket when she went to the morgue. So I feel like Veronica is only going to be brought up when Hannah confronts Benny at the hospital about it, I don't think that Veronica's going to be brought up at the hotel room. That's just my initial thoughts there.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. It was just something I had thought of. But anyway, back to Mitch. Mitch is going to, I think he's a pretty good guy.
I agree, but remember that Warlock, I mean, he was a gangster, but he was a good guy. But then when he got crossed by Candace, that's when we truly saw his bad side. And I feel like Mitch has always been reluctant to join in the Malone family business. So the fact that he's definitely involved with the business, and now, so to speak, because I believe one of his brothers or relatives said to Mitch when he set up the arrangement for Warlock and Candace to be at the restaurant, he's like, well, it looks like you're finally coming into the family business. So I'm wondering.
That was his Uncle Tony.
Uncle. Yeah, and I'm afraid. Oh, first of all, I'm glad you're coming in loud and clear. That's perfect. Yeah, I'm afraid that at some point Mitch is going to have to dig in deep into the Malone blood, and because of that, he might become an enemy in the future. I really don't want to see that, because like Warlock, when he was first introduced, during season 2, season 3, we saw his character and his real connection with Candace, and then that went a complete 360 when she betrayed him. So I don't want Mitch to evolve into the next villain. Is it possible? Yes. If done correctly, it'll be a great storyline, but I just hope it doesn't, go that route.
What do you think would cause that? What do you think would cause Mitch to make this turnaround?
I think
event do you think would Benny Candace kick him off, or what would happen there?
I think 2 points. Number one, the episode Haunted by a Surname, when we had Catherine talking to Mitch about how, your name is something you can't avoid, is who you are. I feel like that was a good foreshadowing of Mitch possibly evolving into the Malone he never wanted to be. And then point 2, I feel like it could be possible. It could be possible that, let's say, the original theory I had, which seems to, is not confirmed, but I really think that it would make a lot of sense if Candace uses her favor from Mama Rose to save Benny's life. Let's flip the script here. Let's say, hypothetically, Benny is about to be killed, and then Mitch vouches up for his friend, even though he told Benny, he's like, look, if you get involved with this money, there's nothing I can do for you. Like, it's literally going to be on you if you can't pay him back. If Mitch says, you know what, is there anything I can do to save Benny? And it's like, yeah, you had to go into the family business. I can feel Mitch having some kind of resentment towards that. Like, let's say if he ends up doing the Malone work because he ended up saving Benny's life, I can see that being a thorn in his side and possibly turn him into a villain. However, I don't think that happened when it came to the Warlock situation, because, well, Warlock nearly killed him, Benny, and Hannah. He did kill Quincy Jr., but Mitch almost got killed too. So those are my thoughts on that, how he might be transformed into a villain.
Yeah, see, that's what got Mama Rose said all this when he almost got killed.
Exactly. Yep.
And so, if Benny gets killed, then he, you think he would have him towards his family?
I don't think they would torture the family. And somebody in one of the live streams yesterday made a good point, and we should definitely do a video on that, is just talking about Warlock, Benny, and Candace growing up together, and how Hannah was like a mother to Warlock. That's definitely a topic I want to do in the near future, but I don't think Hannah will be a target. I feel like, well, if anything, the only family Benny has is, well, Candace and Hannah that we know of, to my knowledge. And it would suck for them to be targeted.
Oh yeah, I agree. And what about? We know Mitch's family is in a little bit of trouble right now, right?
Let's see.
Because remember, they're being investigated by the FBI, tying them to a terrorist organization in Syria.
Oh, good point. maybe that might be another trigger for Mitch. I don't know, like maybe indirect.
Might be another trigger for Mitch. But all right, we do know, and this is, isn't it funny how a lot of this all ties back to Veronica?
And it's funny because she was the one that told Benny, "Is like Secret Service, honey, I could pull a lot of strings, but even I can't pull that off."
Exactly. See, okay, we know that in last week's episode, Mitch and Benny, they pretty much saved Veronica's life.
Yep.
So we pretty much know now that Veronica's most likely going to survive. But if Veronica is one, this whole thing down to shut the FBI and get Veronica might be the one to get the Malones off from the Secret Service investigation. In turn, for Mitch saving her life, since he is a Malone.
That's true. And given the fact, well, here's my thing with that. Not to downplay Mitch at all, but it was really Benny that went in the car that saved Veronica. I think Benny told Mitch to go call 911. So really, it was Benny who put his life fully on the line because he was the one to climb into Veronica's overturned vehicle. Now, in terms of Veronica getting the FBI and Secret Service off the Malone's back, I feel like that will be a major twist in power because if I'm not mistaken, before the series originally began, it was Jim who was on the bench that let one of the Malone boys get off of murder or the disappearance of many women. And because of that, that's why Mama Rose was kind of like in his debt and in his corner. So whenever Jim needed favors, he would just call on them. So Veronica with the Malones in her back pocket is a humongous threat.
Screw all that now. He screwed that up big time.
Oh, definitely. And the worst part about it is like, he did it for his own selfish gains to get rid of the photos and whatnot, but also to seemingly help out Warlock. But then that just kind of blew up in his face and ended up being a wasted storyline. And that's why I hated Warlock being killed off so quickly, because we never really learned what Jim's true intentions were with helping, as he put it, this young punk, this kid, because he saw a lot of potential in him.
You said Jim's name. I was watching the videos that you posted today, and I just wanted to point something out to you real quick. The girl's name that Jim saw on the news with the DA that he's going to go get information on.
Yeah, what's the name? Was it Sally or something?
Sarah.
Sarah. Okay, Sarah. Yeah.
Sarah Duffy, actually.
Sarah Duffy. Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, let's see. Sarah Duffy. Yeah, she's African American, so I'm just like, oh snap! Please don't tell me Jim's going to try to get with her too. I mean, I know it's about the Jennifer Sallison thing, but
could that be the new number? Is that the new number 10?
I doubt it, because the new number 10 has long hair. It's most likely fake hair, while the news reporter Sarah had shorter hair. So the girl that Jim is with seems to be more on the younger side, while this Sarah seems to be more of a kind of middle age.
And you said there was a character named Gia or Gaia or Jai. Where did that go?
Somebody actually sent me a list with photos of the characters as well as new characters like Rocky and Gia, Gaia. I'm guessing this is the woman that Candace is going to be eyeballing at the bar in the hotel, and the same woman she ends up slapping in one of the trailers. So I think Rocky is the bartender that Candace is always asking for, and given the fact that she knows about the prostitution ring, most likely that makes sense. She's probably going to get this girl to work for her to get revenge on Jim. So that's just my thought. So I have to wait until it plays out, though.
Yeah, it's funny how that works, because it was. See, me personally, myself, I try to stay away from those new character spoilers, because I really don't want to get way too ahead of myself with thinking about I just want to take them as they come. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it all goes back to how these episode previews are just so misleading, because in the previews for next week, they'll show us a bunch of these, well, for lack of a better phrase, intriguing scenes. So you can't wait to tune in on Tuesday. So when you actually get to the episode, none of those scenes are in there, just like the whole Jim with the girl in his bed and Catherine walks in on him. That was not in the episode. So I feel like when it comes... Yeah, it's just like when we watch these episodes, none of those um eye-popping scenes are in it. That's why I feel like a lot of fans are disappointed when the episodes actually show up.
Exactly. Like next week, there's a clip of, Veronica going over to David's new house.
Oh, that's not happening for like 2 or 3 episodes.
Unless we have some kind of speed of light pacing in next week's episode.
Hello? Hey, kind of faded out there. I heard like a fast pace, and that was it.
Yeah, I said speed of light pacing next week. I don't see that scene happening.
Oh, definitely. That's unless Veronica checks out of the hospital before the first title screen pops up. Just like Benny and Mitch showed up in the first 30 seconds of the episode. Um, I will say that I did. I think I like made a Facebook post. I didn't really do a video on it. I found it funny that David was building the bed in his new house, and of course there's no furniture yet. And I just thought it was funny. Me and my mom made note of that. How Catherine had those movers come in and just take everything out of the Crier mansion under Jim's nose. And then Veronica, when she got her new house after burning down the old one, she had, I forgot the like the interior decorator. She made sure that the house was
Lindsay.
Yeah, Lindsay. And I forgot who the guy that she mentioned was. It's like, well, I want everything moved today, and it's like, well, that's not possible. Well, he's going to have to pick up the pace, and I'm just like, wow. I forgot who the guy was who she was talking about, but when it came to Veronica,
I don't think she actually said a name. She just said the interior decorator.
yeah, because Lindsay was just like, wait, that's impossible. It was like, well, I guess they'll have to pick up the pace. I'm just like, well, dang. So it's just funny how quickly Catherine can have a house emptied, and how quietly, and how quickly Veronica can have a house furnished. Yet David is just there with a nail and a hammer trying to put a bed together.
Well, David is a true, I mean, you can even tell by his voice, he's a true Southern gentleman, so to speak. Like Candace told Erica, he's Southern. He is
Respectful, a gentleman, pretty much everything she's not used to.
exactly.
Yeah, and I agree. That's definitely within his character. And I was talking to my mom. It's just like we noticed when Candace kept calling Erica, sent her text messages and whatnot, and then she finally got on the phone, and then David walked out of the room to get their dinner while Erica was on the phone, and we just noticed there was like a little bounce in his step. I was just like, oh my gosh. I hope that he and Catherine open their eyes.
I think David is happier now than he's ever been.
Oh, I definitely agree with that. You look at everything Veronica put him through, and it's a shame. I really wish we could see how Veronica was. Basically, I want to see the Veronica that David fell for. You know, the one he fell in love with, because she wasn't always this bad. I believe he said you were always like controlling and whatnot, but never to this extent. So I do admire that. I feel like David does love strong women, but at the same time, he's a bit too submissive and passive, and as Jennifer said, loyal to a fault. So I just wonder how that's going to play out in this season, because I still hold by the theory that Erica might actually start to fall for David and want to pursue a legitimate relationship with him, but might get killed off or something like that. That's just my thoughts.
Exactly. Now, how do you think David will react when he finds out, if he finds out, that Veronica has been in this accident?
I think I want to say next week, because I'm talking about a clip that was in the end credits of the episode. We know Justin's kind of going to be snooping around the house outside, and he's going to tell David about how his wife had their son arrested. Now, whether or not he's going to find out about the car wreck, I don't know, but I feel like he'll go to the hospital to check it out. I do feel like that's going to happen. And I really want to know what Veronica's doing at David's house. Is it A, to kind of thank him for coming by the hospital to say, oh, you really do care? Or B, she's already enacted her plan to integrate herself in Candace's scheme? So I just want to know how that's going to play out. So I feel like David will be concerned. I do feel that much about it.
Because you know, as much as he says he's done with her, or done with Veronica, I still think he loves her in a way.
Oh, I definitely agree. Him and Jeffrey both.
And I think if she would have died, that would have destroyed David.
Oh, I agree with that. I think that, you know what? I know you said you wanted to do a live stream tomorrow. How about we discuss that? Like, you know, what would the Harrington reaction be if Veronica died or something along those lines? We could just pretty much flesh out their reactions to Veronica being in the wreck. Jeffrey in terms of Justin doing it, you know, like, hey, you're the one who almost killed my mom. And then David's reaction. I feel like that would be a video on its own.
Hey, that would be great.
Yeah, we could definitely do that tomorrow.
And in that, and who knows, in that, we could, another thing, you know, before the show ends in 2019, 2020, what are the odds of David and Veronica getting back together?
Man, that is, yeah, we're going to flesh that out. That is a good point. I've been thinking about that too. Yeah, we'll definitely break that down. But how about this? Because it's only been 20 minutes, but it's not too much to talk about Mitch and Benny that we haven't talked about yet. Or, I mean, haven't already talked about. So are there any final thoughts before we close out tonight? But it seems like tomorrow we definitely might have like an hour-long discussion about like the Harrington family as a whole.
Oh, yeah. You know, before Mitch was a Malone, before we knew he was a Malone, I really liked him, but I kind of thought he was going to get killed off, to be honest with you, because I just didn't, before, just because he came out of the blue. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, I definitely agree.
I thought that he was going to get killed off because, I mean, there was really no. I mean, all he was is just somebody that Benny had that was working at the tow yard. So I didn't see anything in his character. I didn't really see anything left for his character. So I didn't think he was going to be around long. I found out that when we found out that he was a Malone, then I kind of pretty much knew that he was going to be a regular character.
Yeah, after we found out. Yeah, I agree. After we found out that he and Warlock didn't have the best connection, that's when I kind of knew that I didn't know he was a Malone, but I did think that him and War might have had dealings in the past. But when it turned out he was a Malone, that's when I'm like, yep, it's definitely going to be working towards a bigger picture. So overall, I feel like we can wrap it up by saying that it's going to be interesting to see how things play out, more so with Mitch's character. Like, will he become a full-blown Malone? Will he remain the same kind of character? Will he try to save Benny if necessary? And how things might work out if Veronica does try to help out the Malones in the FBI situation. But I mean, other than that, it seems like the live stream tonight went a lot smoother than last night, and we'll pick things up to. Oh yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the bar and it says green as in good health the entire stream, so this is definitely very promising. But with that being said, I mean, great talking with you tonight. I mean, it's already midnight, past midnight, so let's just say later on today we will pick things up with a full-blown discussion.
What, 5 o'clock? Should we say 5 o'clock?
Yeah, 5 o'clock sounds good to me.
One more thing before we go. I would like to see more of Mitch's family this season, and it appears like they're going to.
Yep.
I don't know who they are yet. I don't know if we'll see Mama Rose, but I kind of hope we do.
I feel like Mama Rose will definitely see her. I would probably estimate she might show up in the second half of the season. Just, I know it's only been 2 episodes, but I feel like she'll be like a back half of the season kind of character, depending on how deep we dive into the Malone situation. I feel like she might not show up until it becomes clear that Benny wouldn't be able to pay back that money.
So you don't think that when Mitch goes to talk to his family, you don't think that it'll be Mama Rose?
It's possible, but I don't. Yeah, I feel like she might show up, but I feel like it might be more the lines of his uncle and whatnot, because in the preview or the extended trailer, we only saw a male sitting at the table that's dealing the money to Benny. So we might see Mama Rose appear out of nowhere like she tends to do. But, I mean, it'll be great to see her, don't get me wrong. But, yeah, I feel like she'll probably be more of a back half of the season kind of character.
And another thing too. That's what about these as we're going along. I just think about these random theories and thoughts that just. What about Quita? Is there any possible way? And I'm sure there is any possible way that Quita and Mitch will get tangled in this season. End up meeting sometime. Quita's after Candace, and Mitch is not going to go too well. Mitch is going to come intervene somewhere.
Let me put it this way. I need to put a pin in the Quita theory until we see her and Candace in the jail cell. I need to see how they interact, see if there's any dialogue that might hint at things coming on later this season. So for the moment, I don't have any further thoughts on Quita. I mean, after that bomb of me talking about her being the woman that Benny's going to be with, I feel like I definitely need to wait until things play out. I need to see her in the jail, hear what her dialogue with Candace is, and then I'll get back to you on that one.
Well, all I know, she said, "You killed my brother, now you about to cry."
Exactly. So I need to see if there's anything else that might hint at that. So, yeah, but that's definitely going to be a funny scene. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, it looks like she's getting her behind me.
That's the light way of putting it, definitely. All right, well, what I'm going to do now, we're going to close up shop because I feel like I definitely need to jot down some thoughts before 5 o'clock tomorrow. I feel like we're definitely going to break down the Harrington household, to say the least. But again, thanks everyone for tuning in. Chandler for joining in the conversation. Fingers crossed that the live stream that at 5 o'clock today goes as smoothly as this one did.
All right, and I hope you have a great night. It was a pleasure speaking with you again. I'm glad that we're able to be doing the live streams again.
Amen. All right, well, you have a good night, and I'll talk to you soon. And take care, everybody.